Good morning, it's Mark Lanier with your video thought for the day. Today's video thought comes from the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew 5, verse 9, where Jesus says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God." Now, here is the point of my perspective on this today. You'll find in life that you're made up of bits and pieces of everyone you've ever come into contact with. Lois Cheney wrote about this in a book, God is No Fool, I read when I was in high school, and it made a real impression on me. This realization that people you come into contact with have an effect on you. Some of them have a positive effect. Some of them have a negative effect. Some of them affect you just a little bit and then they move on. Some of them affect you deeply and they move on and they leave such a gaping hole. I find as I consider that two aspects relevant to today's verse. The first is that Jesus taught us not only are we made up of bits and pieces of the people we come into contact with, but we also affect those that are on the other end of that exchange. In other words, other people are also made up of bits and pieces of everyone they come into contact with. And so when they come into contact with me, I'm having an effect on them. If I'm a peacemaker, for example, then it's a good effect and I'm having an effect that's positive for them. I'll be called a son of God or a child of God. I'm doing godly things. So I think about this in reference to today, and I realize that I'm going to be coming into contact with a lot of different people today, and they're going to have an effect on me. And some of them will have a positive effect. They'll give words of encouragement. They'll build me up. They'll help me become the best me I can be for God. Other people will come into contact with me, maybe not have such a positive effect. Those are the people where I need to have some mercy. As Jesus said, blessed are the merciful, for they'll receive mercy. Those are the people where I need to pray for them. Maybe those are the people I just need to move out of the way of and stay away from. Regardless, everybody that I come into contact with today, I'll also have an effect on them. And I want that effect to be a good one. If they're going to be made up of bits and pieces of everybody they come into contact with, and that's going to include me, then I want to be a good bit. We have 4 children and a daughter. We have 2 amazing children through marriage, in the sense that our son has married a marvelous young lady and our daughter has married a marvelous young man. But one of the things I've always sought for my children and prayed that they would get is a spouse that brings out the best in them, that makes them the best they can be, spiritually, physically, emotionally, mentally, because who we're with affects who we are, and we affect who they are. So in conclusion, I would suggest you today live consciously aware of the fact that everyone you come into contact with will have an effect on you, and you will have an effect on them. Let's make it a positive effect to the glory of God, so that when at the end of the day, people are made up of bits and pieces of everyone they've come into contact with, we can thank God for those bits and pieces. God bless you. I look forward to talking to you tomorrow.